Aren't they all?
Yeah, yeah, they are.
Yeah. And I don't even have any, and I know how bad it
No,
is.
those
Just
by so
nieces and
fast.
nephews, it's like,
Yeah, when they hit the teenage years, that's when it's fun.
yes.
So busy.
All right.
You did play sports?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for making your way over to the Student Union. We definitely appreciate you being here today. And we are here today as part of our GCC Achieve program. I know there are a couple of class and students here for their classrooms, but for the class sessions. But part of what today is an introduction of this year's GCC Achieve. And we are very excited for this year's vision and this year's opportunities. We have increased our funding tremendously. So we have, what that means is more money to give away, which is always a good thing. And we are introducing an event in December. You may have seen a green sheet of paper in the back when you signed in. There's some on the tables. I just want to real quick explain this to you, what it is, and hopefully you will all participate in this, and we have a wonderful time with it. This is our GCC Unlimited Challenge. It is going to be held in December, and this is an opportunity for you to create a solution to a very realistic problem in Arizona, housing. You can look at any aspect of the issues in housing, be it water availability, power, pricing, land, anything you want, and you are going to find a solution to that problem. And once you create that solution in your mind, you get to come up here on December 12th and present that solution to some judges for your chance of winning $5,000. So we do want to pay you for your work, not just give you credits. But this is going to be a phenomenal event. There will be more information available for this on the Canvas page for GCC Innovation Challenge. So you will find ways to sign up for that Canvas class as well, and we will be telling you more and more about that as the semester goes on. So on to today. Today is our first workshop. How many of you want to start a business one day? Awesome. We need more businesses. How many of you know what business you want to start already? Okay, that's about half the hands. Good. So here is what we did. We brought two amazing experts to come share their insight with you. You are going to ask them some questions. I'll ask them some questions. They'll share their backgrounds, and we're going to talk about what is involved in starting a business, what idea, how do you create ideas, what if someone else is doing what you want to do, how do you still succeed at it, and a number of other things we may come up with. So let me introduce the two people we have up here today that are much more knowledgeable than me. First, closest to me, we have Vanessa Ramirez. Vanessa is she's a returning speaker to our campus, and I appreciate that very much, Vanessa. Thank you.
I'll have a student ID or something now.
Well, we'll get you employee parking if you come for a third speech. But Vanessa is the founder of two different companies. First, Victory Legal Solutions, and this is a company that, and I'm going to allow you to tell more about it, but I'm going to give a brief overview. A company that provides legal services to people in need of personal injury cases, contract cases, minor criminal cases. What else am I missing? Immigration?
Anything under the legal scope.
Anything under the legal, there you go. She does the entire umbrella. And her company, what is so amazing about what Victory Legal does is they make what's happening sensible and understandable. Their job is not to intimidate you and confuse you, but truly to help you and educate you. So it's amazing the work she does, and she will tell you more about that. But the second company is something within the last 6 months?
Oh,
Case
my
lab?
gosh, yes,
as of May. Case Lab is a program and a company that educates others to do their job better, gives them the resources they need. And this is going to be a big part of today, because what Vanessa put together and the opportunities and education she has, she didn't keep it to herself. She said, how can I spread my wealth, spread my knowledge to other people that are doing the same job she does? And that's an amazing thing, that people who are willing to share and people who are willing to lift others up. Big part of small business. Our second speaker, Amy Lou Harvath. Amy is a now, I say retired, former vice president at Meadows Bank, and will be a sales manager with a payroll company starting soon. She is an author, and she is also part of the Fiesta Bowl Yellow Jacket Committee. Now, she went pink today instead of yellow, but she is a yellow. She's got that fancy Fiesta Bowl jacket. And what is incredible about the work that Amy does is that she helps people launch their business, creates opportunities, gives them connections, works with them, and then also they both are phenomenal in giving back to the community. So we've got two people we're going to learn a lot from today, and instead of me talking about them, I'm going to let them talk about themselves a little bit. So I'm not sure who wants to go first, but let me make sure these are on.
All right, let me get up to the mic here. You guys can hear me back there? Typically, I don't even need a microphone, but I guess I'll use my inside voice today. So again, Brett, thank you for the introduction. Vanessa Ramirez with Victory Legal Solutions. And like Brett was saying, I kind of took the industry that I was in, started seeing, I guess, a gap in the services being provided at the firm and I'm not an attorney, I should lead by that. The services that were being provided at the firms that I was working at and the clients, and I saw that there was like a big disconnect on certain things, and I kept seeing it over and over and over, and the way my brain works is like, let's make this easier. So that's kind of what started the inception of putting my business plan together for Victory Legal Solutions. So I will say that when I did start, it was a different name, very close to it. And 2 years in, I did I guess a brand change. I changed the name, and I did that early on. And as of May of this year, launched a separate business, and this time I actually did it with a business partner. But you know, I like to say that I didn't go to school for business. All of you here that raised your hand that said you want to be a business owner one day, like that alone is impressive, because I didn't even know I was going to be a business owner, nor was that ever in my plans. So the fact that you guys are already thinking about it, that alone is telling me that you guys are already ahead of the game. So I'm looking forward to giving you guys some insight, just some real raw insight to you know, being a entrepreneur. And you know, this reel came out yesterday talking about like bootstraps. Like, you know, I'm a bootstraps entrepreneur, no investors. I had no checks. My mom and dad didn't give me money. I started literally I was my first investor. So, but I love that journey for me, and hopefully I can share that with you guys, and you guys can take away some pointers from both of us today. So thank you guys.
So I have a quick little PowerPoint presentation. Obviously, Amy Lou Harvath. Got my little six-figure chick book there that I am an author in. Can you guys hear me okay? So I actually started, once upon a time, I was a hairstylist. I lived in Michigan, and I moved to Arizona many years ago. And I moved to Maricopa, where there was no hair salons. It was the middle of nowhere. And I was like, I need to pivot. I ended up having my first child, and I was like, let me go get a part-time job at a national bank as a teller. And then from there, I just skyrocketed. I definitely climbed the corporate ladder really quick, and I fell in love with business. And then I became a business specialist and then a business banker. And then I went into payroll. And then I ended up creating a position for a national bank that I worked at. And when you do that, you create your brand and people start knowing who you are in the industry. A community bank that is in Nevada, headquarters in Nevada, they flew me on a private jet to interview with them, and they made an offer I couldn't refuse. I accepted, and I ended up creating a really strong business bank here in the Valley from that job opportunity. I was there for 5.5 lovely years, and I actually ended up just putting in my 2 weeks last week, and my first day at a payroll company again is actually Monday. And I'm actually going to be a payroll sales director. So I'm excited. There is going to be an opportunity for me to have ownership as long as I do well on my quotas, which I think I'm going to do. And yeah, kind of in a nutshell, that's kind of where I'm at and my little story about me. These are just kind of a little bit of a glimpse of who I am, my career journey. I'm obviously an international best-selling author for the Six Figure Chicks. I was just nominated for Most Influential Woman in Arizona of 2025, which was really exciting. That's the picture there. And then, yeah, Phoenix People to Know, recipient, Circle of Stars, top business banker in the nation. I love sales. Sales are my favorite. So if you guys have questions, feel free to pick my brain and follow up with me in the future. I'm happy to help you guys. And then, of course, the Yellow Jacket Committee. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what that is, but just a glimpse, high-level overview of what it is. It's a committee within the Fiesta Bowl, and we're the ones that generate money for the community so that we can give back. We do all the sales. We also volunteer. We give back to the teachers here in Arizona. We give a lot to the kids. We build playgrounds. We're the ones that lead the nonprofit, the Fiesta Bowl. We also get to go on the field and work it and do game operations for the Fiesta Bowl and the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, which is really fun and exciting. And I absolutely love football, so it just goes hand in hand. But you do have to be selected to get into be a Yellow Jacket, and then you have to be a future Yellow Jacket for a full year. And there is fiduciary responsibility that you have to do, as well as philanthropy responsibility. But yeah, so this is just kind of a little bit of know your why, your passion, your purpose will drive you when things get tough. Just going over like plan smart, understanding your numbers, budgeting, pricing, cash flow, and then definitely emphasize on business plan. As a business banker, I've had a lot of brand new startup businesses come to me, and a lot of them do not have a business plan, and that's one thing that they lack. That's something that everybody that raised their hand should start focusing on, is creating a business plan, especially if you want to get some lending. No bank or SBA lender will look at you if you don't have that. But yeah, maybe take pictures of this. The next slide is definitely something that maybe you want to document. This is going to be different resources that you can utilize throughout my banking career. I've recommended all my business clients, even if they're seasoned, 10 plus years of ownership, to utilize because it's phenomenal resources. This kind of tells you in a nutshell what it offers. And it's just great free resources for small businesses and businesses that are starting up. It's valuable information. I did not put the websites in because, right here it's pretty self-explanatory of where you go. Just put in Google and you'll be able to find it. But
And all these will be on the Canvas page for you as well, the slides.
this is just a little bit about my Six Figure Chicks book that I just was the author in. We have our launch this Friday where I get to do the signing and, exposing it to the public. We're really excited. There's a whole group of very successful entrepreneurs, women, and what we do is through the sales of the books, we started a nonprofit. It's called Her Right to Rise, and it's a mentorship program for women 16 to 30. And us powerhouse women that are now international best-selling authors, we take women under our wings and we'll guide them and teach them, best practices, tips and tricks, overcoming fear and getting out there, networking and exposing yourself and letting your light shine. And we've kind of taken them under our wings, and we do workshops and different types of events throughout the year so that they can really, really benefit from it. So that's kind of, and if you want to go, you can take a picture of this and you can come support my book launch and learn more about the program, the mentorship.
Finger isn't working well.
And there I am.
There she is.
And if you want to find me, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm definitely on there, active, and feel free to reach out, message me. I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to rewind a little bit and talk about, and you both kind of grazed on it, but I want to dive into the idea of starting a business. Once you realize there's a need, how do you figure out how you can fulfill that need even though there's competition out and present? I don't know, Vanessa, you want to start, because I think what you're doing is there's a lot of people doing similar stuff, and you still went out and are kicking ass, so pardon me.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna take this
You can
thing
take
off.
it
It
off, yeah.
feels more natural.
We'll get you the headset next.
I know, I'm gonna be up here working the
Put a little
room.
Janet Jackson.
So, I love that question, right? Like, what if somebody else is out there doing something that I want to do or similar to what I want to do? And I say that's even better for you. And the reason why is one of the things that I learned early on in my entrepreneur journey was look at people who are maybe doing something like you. What are they doing? What do you feel that you can do differently? How would you stand out? Meet with them, talk with them. You'd be surprised how many of these people would be willing to actually say, yeah, this is my journey, this is that, this is what I wish I would have done. And they will guide you sometimes to resources that you didn't even know you had available. So for me, ideally, my biggest competition, and I take that back because I have this mindset where I don't have competition, and I don't say that in an egotistical way. I say that in I can only compare my growth to myself. And I truly mean that, because there's people who, since I've opened up, there's been very similar businesses that opened up. And guess what? I'm the first one to extend my hand out to them and say, hey, I see you're opening up a new business. And, being in the legal industry, it's a small world. We all kind of get to know each other. So I'll introduce myself to someone who I can see is doing something very similar to me. And I'll say, hey, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you need some resources. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. And, sometimes they're kind of thrown off by it. What do you want from it, right? And I get it. We all start off like that a little bit. People have to build their trust with you and whatnot. But if you find someone out there doing something that you want to do, make it yours. Make it your vision. Make it, how will people know it's you? Make it you, because we all have our own community, our own people that we connect with. Reach out to them, see if they're willing to give you some resources, And again, don't look at it as competition. Learn from their mistakes so that you don't have to make those same mistakes as you start your journey with your business.
Yeah, so I would definitely piggyback off that a little bit. So owning your story and owning your brand, and telling your story, that's what's going to set you apart. That's when doors are going to open that you never even thought were going to open ever. Telling your story, owning your brand, and letting that light, that passion of your dream, because your business is your dream, right? And owning that light and letting it just shine and telling the world. And when you're passionate about your business, it shines from the outside within. And it's amazing when you open your mouth and don't let fear determine your success, what happens. It's magical. So, just telling your story and owning your brand. And I would definitely say networking. That's number one that set me apart from my competition. Being a business banker and being in sales, there's so many different business bankers in this state. It's insane. It's actually sickening. But when I went in and, started networking, the whole game changed. So perfect example. Vanessa is in the legal world. I sponsor a lot of legal Arizona State Bar events. So her and I would have possibly, our paths could have crossed. And it's just a matter of working the room, networking, introducing yourself, telling people who you are, your story, and then building your brand. And I can definitely say when you're networking, you can shake all the hands in the room and touch everybody in the entire room. But if you're not following up, you just wasted your time, because follow-up is crucial when networking, continuing that relationship. And relationships is really what sets you apart, so.
Yeah, and I just wanted to follow up on the networking thing. Networking, people always see it very traditional as far as, you go to an event that you sponsor, and yes, that's absolutely networking. But networking can look a lot different. I mean, you guys in this room, I didn't hear anybody talking when I was in this room. I don't know if you guys know each other or not, but there might be somebody out there who has a similar business idea and like, hey, I have this, I have that. Even within this group or on this campus, talking to people about what your ideas are or what you want to do, that's networking. What community events or what's part of your community? Do you attend church, or do you attend are you part of a softball group? Like traditional networking, I would say look at networking differently. If you're in groups of people, open up the conversation. Hey, I'm so-and-so, what do you do for work? Or, oh, well, I'm a student, I'm actually thinking about opening my own business. You'd be surprised how many conversations will come up from that, or resources that people are willing to share with you. So networking doesn't always have to look like you're suited and booted and going to an event with cocktails and food and, photographs. I mean, it's nice, but it's not always like that.
I mean, even like your doctor, your dentist, hey, I'm starting a business, just nonchalant. Every day, 24/7, you're networking. When you're at a grocery store, you're talking to, you run into somebody at the store, and they're like, oh, what do you do for a living? Really practicing your elevator pitch. Every moment, every time you leave the house, you're networking, so.
Yeah, I saw a hand back there.
Hold on one sec. Not everyone's as loud as Marco.
What does she mean by following up?
Yes.
Is that what your question was? So, if I met her at an event, oh, you do this, you do that. Oh, okay, what's your email? Or what's the best way to communicate with you? Sometimes they might say, hey, yeah, this is my direct email, or here's my cell phone number. Or they might just have their own assistant that's like, hey, connect with my assistant, tell her we met at, GCC, and I'll let her know that I'll be expecting your call, and we'll set up a coffee or lunch. reaching back out to that person that you connected with as quickly as possible. When I say quickly, within the 24, 48 hours, shoot them an email or a text message. Hey, it was nice meeting you. I hope I can still keep in contact with you if I have any questions. Just following up so they remember who you are and you open up that line of communication. Thanks for your question. We like those.
I need an assistant.
Yes.
Hold on one sec. I'm coming up with it.
What is the best sales advice that you have ever gotten?
Oh, man.
They're not starting easy.
I know.
Right?
Take it easy on us, guys. Okay. I'm going to tell you, it wasn't advice that I received, it was experience. And that experience for me was my pricing point. When you start off your business, we're in business. I don't think anybody here is like, I don't want to make any money, right? Because if that's the case, you're just volunteering. Okay, we all want to make money. I would say my biggest hurdle was being comfortable making money. And what I mean by that is I was raised in a humble household. Like I said, I came from my families weren't rich. My dad was blue collar worker. My mom had an office job. We had what we needed, but we didn't have an extravagant lifestyle. So being in the legal industry, it's a lucrative industry. There's a lot of money in it. That's why you see billboards every 5 steps that you walk outside. You know how much those billboards cost a year? Millions of dollars. So be comfortable asking for money. Know your worth. Okay? And there was a book that I purchased early on. Well, I shouldn't say early on. I would say probably my halfway point. I think it's called The Psychology of Money. And I thought that was a really interesting read because it talks about people's stories, people who were rich and lost their money, people who were rich and didn't spend their money. It takes different examples of money and people with money or people who didn't have money, but our psychology around money and how we treat it. I was afraid to ask for what I really wanted, and what did that cause? It caused me to be disappointed every time I built up a new relationship with an attorney that I was working with, because I knew that I was valued more than I was willing to ask for, and I never felt satisfied. So it wasn't until that point where I was like, you know what? This is my price, and I'm not budging from it. And they were like, okay. And I'm like, okay, that was it? And I'm like, okay, all right. But now now you're getting money. Now how do you manage it? Because there's this thing called taxes that you have to pay, right? There's overhead. There's all these fancy words that I didn't learn in business school because I didn't go to business school. But those are things that I learned along the way. So I would say my biggest advice to you would be comfortable. Become comfortable asking for money. Become comfortable understanding your value. And don't be afraid to budge on that, okay? That's know your worth.
And then I would say my biggest learning curve with sales would be learning to build rapport first, building that relationship, and then listening to their why. Because when you're selling something and there's a customer in front of you, no matter what the product or service is, they're always going to tell you a pain point or their quote unquote why. Why do I want to purchase this? And you have to listen, and they'll tell you why they're purchasing it or why there's a pain point. And then what you're going to do is you're going to match talk. And you're going to say, okay, Mr. Customer, you said that X, Y, and Z, and this is why I'm going to offer you this sale or this service because you said yada, yada, yada. So you have to listen. Build rapport first, and then you listen, and then you match talk. And that's how is that good? Yeah. All right.
And I wanted to talk really quick about, I know we went from networking to advice, and I feel like there's kind of this little segue here is, when do you network? You don't need a big group, right? And with networking, I'm gonna say practice your pitch as much as possible, because when I first started off, I was like, well, I've been in my industry 15 years. But when I was off on my own, I was like, well, this is what I do is, because I get unattached cases, and so I was fumbling around my words because I wasn't confident in my space yet. So I had to fumble my words with a lot of people, until they're like, oh, so you do this, or so you do that. So sometimes hearing others' insight into what you do, what's the solution you are providing, what is it that you're selling that's going to make their life better. Sometimes listen to others, because they're going to tell you what you do in a different way, and you're like, oh yeah, that's what I do, and that sounds so much better. So guess what? I started picking out little pieces of how people were describing what I do, and I finally formulated my pitch so that when I did go speak with an attorney or go speak with someone who wanted my services, it was put together. This is what I do, this is a service I bring, and these are my fees. You want in or out? Okay, great. So I wanted to kind of connect those two together, how the networking comes into your price.
Absolutely. So it's the elevator pitch. If you Google it when you go home, maybe this can be like a little homework assignment for you guys. Google how to master your elevator pitch, and it should be no longer than 1 minute. You want to use keywords that are going to highlight what you're selling, what your business is, and something that's going to really make you stand out. And have you, at the end, you want it to be open-ended, where they say, oh, really? That's amazing. Can you tell me more? And then you say, yeah, here's my business card. Let's meet for lunch so I can further, educate you on what I do. And then the magic happens. But really, start practice writing that down. That will be your homework assignment. Start writing it down until you have it mastered in your brain. Where if someone asks you, walking by, what do you do for a living? Oh, I do this, this, and this, and this, and this, with an open-ended question where they can say, really? And how do you do that? How do you sell that? Oh, how do you change people's lives? How do you add value? How do you save people money? How do you save people time? And then boom, go in with that, so.
And one of my lovely resources I tap into a lot is ChatGPT. I love that thing. I would say, because sometimes I'm like, especially when I have like an angry letter that I'm writing to somebody and I want to just cuss them out, I'm just like, I'm typing, it doesn't make sense, I'm not using punctuation, and I throw it in there. I'm like, please change the tone to, whatever. So they clean up my anger. But with that said, with your sales pitch, maybe you're like, okay, you don't have to have it formulated, throw it in there. Hey, what are some different options I can, explain what I do for my business? There's so many resources and technology out there, you guys. Use them.
Yeah, you guys are blessed with ChatGPT. We didn't get to have that.
Did you have a question, or were you? Yeah.
Me? I just figured I'd come here for some purpose.
Okay, I thought you were coming. Okay, we have a question back there.
Okay, can I add?
Yes.
All right, we'll ask.
See, I gave you your opportunity. You missed it.
I did. I'm so excited.
Thank you for sharing your information. We know that branding is more than just logos and colors. How do you establish a brand that speaks to the right demographics and is still you? Because you can ask 10 different people on, their opinion on your branding, and maybe people will have different opinions, but how do you build that? How do you establish that from the ground up and stay strong?
Do you want?
So obviously it's going to be different for every industry and every product and every service that you're offering in your business. I would say the difference maker there, where you're going to stay true to your personal brand and your business brand, is try to figure out how the both can collide and they complement each other, right? So prime example, you want to be a veterinarian, you want to own your own clinic. You love animals, that's your personal brand. You have animals at your home. You love them. You post them on your personal social media. but you also, now you're taking your personal passion and intertwining it into a business, and now they're complementing each other. So then you're not getting away from, creating some other brand that isn't true to you or your business. So it's really, passion is what's going to set you apart. You're going to have that passion that's going to create that brand, and you're just going to add momentum from there.
I'll tell you this, when I first started, somebody was trying to sell me their business plan because they're like, oh, I can help you with your brand. And I'm like, why? I don't need a brand. I know what I'm doing over here. Like, I didn't even know what a brand was, right? And I'm like, oh. But my short answer to that is, what community are you serving? What community or demographic are you trying to serve? Listen to how they describe what you do. When you have a friend or someone in that group or demographic that introduces you to another friend, they're going to tell you your brand. Oh, this is, I used to be, hey, this is Vanessa. She is like a car accident concierge. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I am a car accident concierge. I'm going to write that down, right? So sometimes you don't need to know your brand right off the bat. You might know what colors you want. You might know what logos you want. Be okay with changing that. You're not married to it. You should be adapting. So listen to the people that you're trying to serve, and let's see how they describe you, and use that as a guide to start formulating your brand.
Okay, I'm going to get to my question finally. Driving back all the way to the networking and the whys and sales and great sales advice. Getting out can be intimidating to a lot of people, going to events, meeting people, doing those things. Does networking and introductions to a certain level, can it happen virtually? Can people break down barriers? And I will confess, both Vanessa and Amy Lou and we all met separately, but via Instagram, I think, is where I met both of them. And communicating, saying this is what we do at school, allowed me to open a door to say, how can we work together? So how can someone who's a little bit shy, doesn't have the resources to get out and do things, use technology to at least unlock doors and open them?
So there's many platforms that you can utilize. There's LinkedIn, there's Instagram, there's TikTok. There's so many different avenues that you guys can monetize on. And by monetizing, telling your story. So if you're brand new, you just opened a Facebook account and you have nothing about your business or yourself, and you just slide into people's DMs saying, hey, I want to know who you are. I want to do business with you. I want you to buy from me. Nobody is going to think, A, you're a real person, or B, you're a real business. So make sure every platform that you're on, it's obviously put together well, and it represents your brand, right? Your business, your brand, who you are, your passion. And then you start tapping into those DMs and sliding into those DMs. And, it's amazing what can happen when you just say, hey, this is my business and this is what I do. Or maybe someone might like your post, and then you can slide into their DM, hey, I see that you liked my post. How can I help you? I would love to do business with you. Can I extend my services or my product to you? And it's amazing what you can do without having to go into networking events, even potentially even seeing the people. You can do business that way. So it really just depends on your approach, but make sure you're on all platforms. That way you can monetize and you can touch those people, those future clients.
I'm glad you brought that up, Brett, because I feel like that's just, I feel like I speak social media like I speak English, right? Like it's just part of my daily life. So I forget to recognize that, yeah, you're right, that is a source and an outlet of networking. You know, I do a lot of my social media on Instagram. You know, I'm tapping into like TikTok, but that's like my kids stuff. So I'm like, okay, how do I do TikTok, guys? And they're like, Mom, that's too structured. You got to just like, you know. I'm like, okay, well, how does this sound? So, you know, stay where you feel comfortable. You don't have to hit all the platforms. You don't have to be on LinkedIn and TikTok and Threads and all like X. And can't even tell you. I'm like, I'm gonna stay where I feel the most comfortable and I understand it until I need to outsource it and bring somebody else in to help me with that. But with social media, I've made some of my biggest connections. And when you're building a business, remember, you're not doing it by yourself. I know for all of us who have social media, if we follow a new page, what's the first thing we see? Oh, you have this friend in common, or you have that friend in common. Guess what? Hey, friend, I see that we have this mutual person in common. Do you know them? Oh, yeah, that used to be my neighbor growing up, or that used to be, I used to work for them at this other company. Hey, do you mind doing an intro? I'm starting my business, and I think we kind of work together. And they'd be like, yeah, absolutely. Let me put you in a group text. You'd be surprised how many of those people would be willing to like help you. So remember, you're not doing this alone. Use your resources and the people that you have in your social media. But absolutely, reach out in DMs. I thought you were talking about Zooms. I thought Zoom was like over with, but with my second business, it is national. So we're meeting with a lot of people like virtually through Zoom, and I forgot about it, but now I'm just like, now when I do meetings now, I'm like, do you guys want to are you okay doing a Zoom? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, perfect, because especially in the summer, I don't want to go in my car, I don't want to be in the heat, it's draining. It really is draining to be a business owner here in the summer because it's hot, right? So thanks for bringing that question up.
No, thank you, and your answers are fantastic. And I wanted, because sales, to go off the question that was asked by our student, cold sales are some of the toughest things to do. You have to have one heck of a backbone to open a business because you're going to be told no lots of times. You need that one yes, but there are a lot of no's in the middle of those yeses. And what I find so interesting about social media is it softens those calls. And you were starting to speak to that because if we have friends in common, all of a sudden you're now being introduced, and it's similar to getting a job. If Vanessa hands my resume to her boss and says, this is a really good person, versus me just mailing my resume. So if you can speak a little bit more to how to utilize all the tools we have to create that initial softening of a relationship, I guess, is my question, if there's anything more to add to that. If not, we're good.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really a way to soften it up because I feel like for the most part, I can speak to anybody. I can start a conversation, right? I can have a conversation, but I don't really know if there's a way to soften it up because even as confident as I am in speaking with people and whatnot, it's still like what if they don't respond? What if they tell me to go kick rocks? What if they, you're always gonna have that self-doubt and I guess imposter syndrome. I mean, we haven't even touched on that. That thing, that imposter syndrome is real, even as successful as I am now, it still comes in all the time, but I don't see that as a threat anymore. I'm just okay, read into it, Vanessa, what's going on? Why are you feeling insecure about the situation, right? And it's usually because I don't feel prepped enough or I whatever it might be, but I don't know if there's any way to soften the blow because it's still hi, what's your name? What do you do? It still feels a little bit awkward, as social as I am. Yeah.
So you mentioned self-doubt, and I have a question for that. So throughout your journey, have you had people who didn't believe in you? And if you did, how did you keep going? How did you fight that self-doubt?
Yeah, her question was, during our journey, did we have self-doubt? Did we have people that didn't believe in you? And how did you overcome that? Absolutely. If you don't have people doubting you, you're not doing a good job. And I know that sounds redundant, but people are always going to be haters. And guess what? Sometimes it's going to start with your inner circle. You're going to do what? Girl, you can't do that. You ain't got no money. You're crazy. Why would you do that? You're getting paid a good salary. You have health insurance. You have a 401k. Why would you risk that? Why would you do that? And I say that personally, you know, when I went off on my own father was like, what are you doing? Why are you going to do that? What, like, you have kids? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, you taught me to be this way. Did you forget that, right? But I realize now that he was doing it out of protection, right? He didn't want to see me fail. He didn't want me to lose my own investment, right? They do it out of like a protection. But to my point is, you need people to doubt you, because if you're going to be an entrepreneur, get used to it. No one here is going to be handed a free, open check to say, here, go ahead and do what you want to do. Your whole point of entrepreneurship is having to prove people why they need your services, why they need your product, why do they need you. So yes, you should be having people that doubt you, because now it's going to allow you to formulate your pitch. It's going to allow you to truly clean up what your business model is. Use those experiences and those no's as a way to be like, all right, let's go back to the drawing board. So use that in your favor.
So like I said earlier, you have a light and you have to let that light shine bright to the world, right? So in essence, that light is your fire, right? And when you have those negative no-sayers, you can't do this, and people that are trying to drain that positive energy, you need to take that and use it as momentum and adding fuel to your fire so that it burns even more. So I literally, in banking, it's very competitive, and it's a male-dominated industry. No offense to all you men in here, but it is a male-dominated industry. So when you have a woman that's standing up and, you know, kicking butt and taking names, you know, people don't like that, especially when you're in a male-dominated role. And you can't let that discredit you or discourage you. So you have to use it as, take it with a grain of salt. Use it as your fuel to your fire so you can gain momentum. And you can't look at it as a negative. When you're in business, you cannot have any negativity, because it will crush you, your business, your dreams, your employees, everything. And it's like a dark cloud that will just hover over you and follow you. You have to take that leap of faith and just run with it. And when you get the no's and you get the negative, you know, energy, you have to just fight through it and use it as your momentum. Like, let's go. All right. You say, no, I can't do it. Watch me.
Yeah, and you're not for everybody. You're not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. And I didn't answer the first part of your questions. Yes, I had attorneys that knew me well, knew what I did in the industry. And when I wanted to do business with them, they're like, oh, I don't really think I understand. Okay, cool. Well, guess what? Now they're knocking on my door. They're like, hey, so let's have lunch again. And I'm thinking, like, for what? Like, I already know where it's going, right? And I'm like, no, thank you. I mean, I had an attorney who, this is his third time, where he's like, I gave him a chance the first time. No. I gave him a chance the second time. Like, left me hanging. And I'm like, okay. And then the third time he came around, he's like, okay, Vanessa, he's like, what do I got to do to get your business? Because I know you're doing well. Like, what's like your price point, whatever. Shoot, when I first started with him, I'm like, just give me some pennies. I was okay with like pennies on the dollar, right? I literally looked him in the face and I was like, well, I have some big plans. There's things that I want to do. So I go, if you want to buy me out, I was like, $1 million. He never called me back. So I have my price point now, right? Did I just pull that number out of thin air? Yeah. But it's like, look, you had a couple times to take me seriously, and now I'm serious with my ask. And if you can't meet my budget, then we're just not meant to work with each other. And that's cool. We're not for everybody.
Next
I know
question over here.
that the gentleman over here did have a question.
I
saw
got
he
one
raised
here, and
his
then I
hand.
will come
One
that
and
way.
one, okay.
First off, Vanessa and Amy, congratulations. You guys are doing great things for everybody in the world, so congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
So I have my own business now, and one of the things I struggle with most is I fully believe in the face-to-face, eye-to-eye contact and setting a standpoint and getting into it. I believe in like cold knocking and like hard cold calls and the things like that. It's truly like for me one of the hardest things to understand, because understanding a person's needs and wants based off what you have to offer is hard just based on knowing them for 35 to 45 seconds. So my question to you is, what steps can I take to better understand a person's needs based on what their current situation is?
What kind of business do you have?
I have my own mobile detailing company.
Mobile detailing company.
Yeah, we've been in business for about a year and a half. We just crossed $1 million in revenue.
Congratulations. Yeah, kudos to you. So, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so first of
I
all,
have to think about it.
congratulations on your success.
Thank you very much.
That's
Appreciate that.
amazing. Give yourself a pat on the back. Also, I want to highlight the fact that what you said earlier about being able to go door knocking because you like that face-to-face. I'm going to tell you right now, in sales, everybody has a different way of selling. I don't sell the same way that Vanessa would sell. I can guarantee it. Maybe some similarities there, but definitely not the same. So that's where you need to hone in on what works best for me when I'm listening to these people. And earlier I said match talking. So you have to just, I know you only have 30 seconds, but I'm not really familiar with detailing and how you would really attack with that approach of sales. But it would literally, how many vehicles do you have? And then they say, oh, I have 2 vehicles. Oh, you do? And then learn what works for you. And what's not working, then you have to pivot. Don't get comfortable in one way of selling. Don't get comfortable just saying, oh, well, this, and then they give you no. Learn how to deal with objections. When, and if one way of handling objections isn't working, you need to pivot. Okay, what is going to work? Utilize ChatGPT. How can I handle the objections of customers saying, no, we're not interested, and just slamming the door in my face? How can I overcome different types of objections? Oh, no, I have my baby sleeping. I'm not interested. Or, yeah, come back tomorrow. Then, making sure you do your follow-up, right? Can I have your phone number so I can reach out to you and follow up with you? It's just going to look different with every interaction. So that's why you really need to start honing in on how to pivot and do it quick, because time is money, right? And obviously when you're doing door to door, a lot of people are going to shut the door on your face, and
Right.
they don't want to be bothered, right? But there is some that have that need. So, not getting discouraged when they say no, and moving on to the next one with that positive momentum, that positive energy. I'll get the next one, right? So
the biggest thing that's worked for me is I use like intercommunal Facebook pages, and I post my ads on it, and like I list my prices, my services. I get 10 to 15 messages a day from my company based on, oh, where are you guys at? Where are you located? Do you go across the state? I post in different areas, and that's for me one of the biggest ways to attract customers and spread the word about my business and stuff like that. But when it comes to door, I feel like the thing that really works best for me is when I don't get a response on the door, leave a flyer on their door handle, or even leave a business card, or if they have a ring or something like that, just leave a message. And even when it comes to that, sometimes I'll even get a call 24 to 48 hours later after even they don't respond to me. So my thing is, I leave the message, but one of the things that screws with me is like not getting the response. But at the same time, I get 15 to 20 different texts a day from other people.
Okay. So I'm going to be honest with you here, all right? I love this stuff. And you said mobile detailing, right? Okay. I don't know why I went to cell phone mobile. It sounds like you already have a list of things that you've done. You have a list of things that will have worked. You have a list of things that haven't worked, right? You're in this like grid of this works, this doesn't work, right? What I'm gonna challenge you to do is think bigger. Step back, right? Think of yourself as a customer, if someone's selling to you. The first thing you said was, I leave a flyer or I leave a business card. Guess what I do with those things when I come home? I throw them right in the trash. I don't care. Oh, cool. That's cute. Hey, maybe sometimes I'm like, oh, that's a cool logo, right? There's things, oh, that's cool, right? If there's nothing on there that looks different than any other mobile company, I'm throwing it in the trash. But the ring, one of the things that came up to me was like, hey, do your 30-second pitch on that ring. You know the recording. Ding, do a little da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And they're going to be like, who the hell is this kid? You know what? Let me give them a chance. Like, they caught my attention, right? Like, that stuff always goes on social media. Like, that just, you know, so that was like one of the things that came to mind. Like, if you had like little jingle or you did something like out of the norm, I'd be like, as an entrepreneur, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give you my time, okay? But one of the other things that, you know, I probably should have a contract with you here because this is the other thing I'm gonna tell you about thinking outside the box. There's a lot of business owners like myself who don't have time to detail their car, right? Or we don't have time to think about, like, how can I show my staff appreciation? Like, there's only so many donuts I can bring. There's only some lunches. There's only, yeah, you know, there's bonuses here and there, whatever. But, like, how can I take care of my employees in a way that, like, I haven't had an opportunity to, where I could be like, you know what? Let me get all my employees' cars detailed, right? So that's a pitch for you, especially as the holidays are coming and whatnot. You could be like, hey, business owner, like, I have a, you know, we have a special coming up for owners to show appreciation to their employees. We'll come to your place of employment, and, you know, our rate to detail cars is X amount. And, you know, this would be a good way to make you look good by cleaning your employees' cars. They'd be like, my boss, you know, when I was working, was willing to, you know, wash my car, especially if I have kids. I'm like, good luck. Like, there's Cheerios in the back, and I don't know what you're gonna find back there. But those little things where I say think outside the box, how can you provide solutions to someone with your product or your service in a way that somebody else isn't doing it? And don't think car by car. Yeah, you want to do car, but what if you can do 10 cars in one day, right? Think bigger. But I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, so I think that another thing, if you're in a certain area, you know, Mr. John Smith, you have a detailing and you end up giving him a good detail and he's so proud and happy of your work, right? Because that's what's going to set you apart from your competition is your work, right? Then you say, hey, Mr. John Smith, what's your neighbors' names? Do you have a relationship with them? I'm going to go knock on their door and let them know that, you know, you're so proud of the work that I just did, and see if Mr. Bob wants to have his car detailed. I would like to know his name. Maybe pivot in that direction too, because when you know someone's name, that sets you apart as well. They're willing to give you the moment and the time to shine and listen.
And give me 1 second. I wanted to address just not his question, but I wanted to kind of give you a general answer for everybody, because obviously he's already started his business or whatnot. But your point is, like, I only have 30 seconds to speak with someone. At the end of the day, you're speaking with a person, a human, right? Sometimes they don't want to talk business. You don't know what kind of day they had, whatever. But, you know, find some commonality with them, right? Hey, oh, you're a Sun Devil. Are you a Sun Devil alumni? I'm a Sun Devil. You know, they're like, oh, no, my daughter goes to ASU. Oh, cool. Like, you know, oh, you know, that gives you a little bit more time, a little bit more conversation. Or, you know, I see this, especially now that it's football season, college football season, right? Like, you know, everyone's wearing their college sports. If you're from, you know, I was born in Texas, you know, so sometimes I'll see a Texas connection, you know, talk about Texas. But how is that person going to remember you? They may not buy your product or your service that moment, But they might remember that conversation of, hey, like, you know, think of a way to just talk to them as a person, and then it will lead into the sales. Like, oh, you know, I'm looking at her PlayStation shirt over there, right? Like, oh, PlayStation, like, oh, my kids are on that. I don't get those, like, the playbooks or whatever you guys. How do you, like, purchase the, like, why do you, you know, oh, she's going to tell me, I don't know, maybe she's just wearing the shirt, right? But she might tell me a little like, oh, this is why you use it, whatever. Okay, cool. Oh, well, you know, I don't want to waste your time. I was here because I wanted to tell you, like, what my business is. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. If you ever find the need for it, you know, this is where you follow me on social media. But, yeah, hey, thanks for giving me insight on the PlayStation stuff or whatever. Find something in common with them because that can lead to a longer conversation, so it doesn't have to be 30 seconds. So that was just like a general answer for everybody in regards to that. Go ahead.
I might have missed it when I was moving the chairs, but another thing with the car business that I would think of, or any other business, I like to look at, purchasing a product or service, I like to look at reviews. I'm not loud enough? I am loud enough. I'm not loud enough? Okay. Okay, all right. Reviews or testimonials. If you are giving excellent customer service, ask that customer that's excited about your work if you're okay in taking a picture with them or next to their car or whatever the product or service is, and then making a post if you're using social media, because people will see you actually doing the work with that customer, which will bring confidence and you know, they'll trust you. Oh, okay, I actually see what he's doing. Not just talking about it or he's talking about it, but I see what he's doing. I see the work. I see the happy customers. So that also helps too. I just wanted to, I don't know if you threw that in there, but I wanted to throw that in there too.
No, that's a great
Absolutely.
point. Absolutely.
And there's a lot of social media, like especially on Facebook, there's neighborhood groups that each neighborhood, I'm in Chandler, so I have a lot of, everybody in my HOA, we belong to a group on social media on Facebook. And I see all the time, the, like prime example for like air conditioning cleaning of the vents and stuff. I have one guy that posts all the time to the group, to the entire subdivision. We get special pricing if we have a group purchase. So then we get a discount if there's 5 or more of us. So maybe do something creative like that. Hey, I'm running a special. If you can get 10 people in your neighborhood, I'll give it to everybody for $75 instead of $125. Boom. You know, because then you're doing volume and it makes up for that market that you're taking away from, but it makes up because you're doing a much larger volume. And now, I don't know if you have employees, then they're getting work, you're keeping them busy, you're building up your where you need to go, you know, and you're gaining momentum. And the good thing about what you do is if you do a good enough job, they're gonna keep returning. So now you got that residual income that's gonna keep feeding you, right? So.
Go ahead.
Nope.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for coming out. Really appreciate the know-how. So here's a question on the more tangible stuff, like actual skills and stuff needed to run a successful business. For somebody like myself, coming over from the skilled trades construction sector, what do I need to brush up on? Do I need to take an accounting course at the local community college? What would you recommend to run a business?
I'm coming from the, I'm telling you, when I started my business, I was like, I'm starting my business. Got my business cards, I got my social media, I know how to send an invoice. I think I had opened up QuickBooks. Apparently I didn't know how to use QuickBooks, and you know, my advice, and it's not this is going to be, this formula fits for everybody, right? The simplest way I can answer that question is one, your money. Keep your money straight. And what I mean by that, your receipts. What are you purchasing? Are you keeping track of it? Maybe you have to start out with an Excel form right now because you're starting. But there's so many resources out there, again, ChatGPT. Hey, can you create, I am opening this kind of business. What kind of things do I need to keep track of for business purposes, for profit, for loss? I finally brought in an accountant, and she's like, we're going to give you your P&L statements and this and that. Like, I'm like, well, why do I need that? Well, because, it tells you what your profit is and your loss is. Well, I don't want to know that. I know how much money I'm bringing in out. She's like, well, no, you really don't. You think you know. And I'm like, ugh, I don't want to talk about that negative stuff, right? Like, I don't like accounting. I like bringing in money. I don't like having to pay my taxes, but I have to, right? But, and no, I don't think anybody enjoys paying taxes, but I would say for me, it's like, you don't have to figure it all out. Stick in your lane, stay in your lane, know what you know. Look out for resources that people can like help you. You'd be surprised, some of these accountants, and you let them know what you're doing, how you're starting. They might just say, hey, we have a starter package because you don't need us yet because your income isn't at this level or whatever, right? So they might charge you an amount that you can afford, but because you didn't ask, you automatically eliminated yourself from like that service. You will eventually get to that point where you're bringing in the income, right? You're making profit. And what I've learned during this process is outsource the things that you don't like to do. And guess what? Find another entrepreneur who's starting their business. Maybe someone who's starting an accounting business. Maybe someone who's starting marketing and, likes to do business cards and, create merchandise, and they have their own mom and pop shop. Grow with other businesses that are starting with you. Because they're the same way. They're like, I don't even know what to charge. I don't have that. I'm starting too. You're one of my first clients or whatever. Grow with others that are starting along with you. Eventually outsource what you don't like to do. Because that's not where you want to spend your time. And so I've learned now that I've outsourced my accounting. I'm in the process of, I actually just brought in a virtual assistant that's helping me. And my conversation with him was like, hey, I'm bringing you on board because I need to fire myself. And I literally was like, I need to fire myself because I don't need to do X, Y, and Z anymore. I thought I needed to do X, Y, and Z because nobody can do my work like I do it. But my challenge is, I wasn't willing to stop to train somebody to do the work that I do. So it wasn't that nobody could do my work. I was in my own way because I wasn't willing to take that time to train somebody now. So keep your numbers clean, reach out to other resources, and then eventually outsource what you don't want to do.
I want to piggyback off of that. So taking an accounting course is not necessary, to be honest, when you're an entrepreneur. I mean, you can to be dangerous and save yourself maybe some money, but your time is money in business. So when you're doing your own accounting, that's money that you're losing out and putting back into the business. And also, I want to emphasize on being an advocate, because maybe I was a past business banker, but utilizing your business banker. They have so many resources for you. And a lot of them is the resources that I just put up on my slide. Those are free resources. So utilize your business banker because they know their stuff. They know the tips, the tricks, especially when you're starting up. They can teach you things that you're like, whoa, my light bulb just clicked. I didn't even know I needed that introduction. I didn't even know I needed to make a business plan. I didn't even know I needed to worry about my profits in this way and my losses. I didn't know that I had to keep track of this. And they are a free resource for you to utilize. And are you going to be a subcontractor or general contractor? What are you trying to do? Yes, let's go. That's awesome. There's a lot of money and tons of business. We're growing like crazy, so that's amazing. And then hire an accountant. you're gonna make a lot of money as a general contractor, a lot. That's when you hire an accountant to do that, because now you don't have to take that time out of your business and make magic happen and growing those numbers. Now you can hire somebody else to do it. But, you know, if you had a business banker and you have a good relationship with them, you could say, hey, you know, should I do this? Should I not do this? And they're gonna tell you. And then if you need an introduction, 99% of the time, they're gonna have 3 or 4 or 10 different intros they can make for you. Now those are doors that they're opening for you. You don't have to open yourself. And that's more time that you're putting back into your business instead of going and finding the top 3, you know, accountants in the state. Let them do the legwork. They do it for you. So utilize them.
Yeah, and just to talk about the banking thing, that was something that was really important, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm opening up my business, right? But there's no LLC, there's no EIN, there's not a bank account. You're just using your own like bank account. Like, if you're gonna do it right. And the reason why, and I didn't, again, notice this until later on, is that your business is gonna have its own credit. How long has it been around? Is it making money, right? And the longer you stay around, guess what? Eventually, when you need capital, right? Capital, money that you borrow to help your business grow. Maybe that capital can help you bring on like a part-time accountant, right? So I just wanted to piggyback on that, is that make sure, when you are interviewing banks, and I say interviewing banks, find a bank that wants your business, because your bank should want you to succeed. So they should be able to tell you, this is why we are the best bank for entrepreneurs, because we have access to different grants that you can apply for. We have access to accountants that will help you for the first 2 years. We have access, let them sell you. People like to be sold. We all like to be sold. Don't just give me this bottle of water. Tell me why this bottle of water is so special and why I should drink it. Sell it to me. So be selective of your bank as well too, to make sure that they offer you the best, resources
And
that can make you
service.
successful.
Yeah, resources and service. And when starting an LLC or a C Corp or a S Corp, the banker will have resources for you so that you don't have to run around like a crazy man or a crazy lady trying to figure out, where do I go? Or waste your money, because you can do it yourself a lot of the times. And a lot of people would be like, oh, I'm just gonna go to LegalZoom and have them do it for me. But it's you're costing yourself money when you could potentially just do it yourself. And your business banker knows how to do it, and they can even show you. So utilize your business banker when starting your business. I can't emphasize on that enough.
We got a new questionnaire here, and then we'll go to you. Here you go, sir.
No, I didn't have a question.
Now you get to ask a question.
Okay. What inspires you? What keeps your inspiration growing after being in business for so long?
My kids. I have 3 kids. So they're my motivation. They're what keeps me going every day. And you know, obviously learning how to do something that you love. Then you will never work a day in your life. That's something that my grandfather said many years ago when I was a little girl, and it has stuck. And I didn't realize what he was saying and what he meant by that until I got older. And I thought doing hair for a living and makeup was gonna be something I was gonna love. Turns out banking and anything business related was something that was my passion, and that's what fueled my fire. So, you know, when you find your niche and your passion and something that you love, you wake up excited, you're pumped, ready, like, let's go. I'm excited, like, another day, another dollar, let's go. So you just really have to maybe A, have kids, and then B, even animals are kids too, so. And then B, find that passion, something that you're gonna love, because then that's gonna keep you going and it's gonna fuel your fire every day.
You know, I have kids too, and they're getting very comfortable with my money. And I'll tell you that, they're in high school, so I have to. I'm always like, I'm gonna cut you off this week, and I'm like, I don't, right? Because I'm a sucker. But what I would say for me is, I know where I came from. I know what I didn't have growing up. I know what's important to me. I know what nonprofits I want to be aligned with. I know what community I want to uplift. I know what entrepreneurs I want to help be successful. So I'm blessed at a point financially where my money is allowing others to make money, where my money is allowing to support nonprofits that means something to me. My money is allowing me to spend a month out of Arizona in the summer because that was one of my goals. One of my 5-year goals is that when the summer comes around, I don't want to spend it in Arizona. Nobody wants to spend a summer in Arizona. So that is my motivation, was just not my kids, but the impact that my dollar makes, and I get to put that in my community and organizations that I want to support. That to me is important. That's my motivation.
Hi again.
Hi, what's your name? I feel like we're friends now. We should
I would love that. I'm Jasmina.
Jasmina.
So,
Okay.
my last question for today. I am a musician. I sing, songwrite, compose. I play like 5 instruments. I've written over 100 songs that I have not released yet. And I really love business and marketing. And I just released my debut song. I went viral on TikTok and got about 40,000 views on YouTube and 1,000 monthly listeners.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. My question for you guys is, how do I keep gathering this mass attention, and how do I take fans out of it? How do you make an impact to people with what you sell? For me, my business is my music, so that is the question.
Okay, you're on TikTok?
Yes.
Okay. Jasmina?
The jazz.
No, but what's your name? Jasmina?
Yes.
Do people know your story on TikTok, or do they just like, hey, this girl has a beautiful voice and I like that song?
The second one.
People know your story.
No, they don't.
They
They like my song and they like my voice. They don't really know a lot about me.
Okay. So you're in the beginning of this journey, right? And I tell people, share your story. Be vulnerable. And you don't have to disclose your entire story there, right? But with social media, we already know, like, okay, you can put up this persona of like who you are, and you can put all the filters, and we can all look like models, and we have fine dining all the time. We can put up whoever we want to look like on social media, right? That's cool. But what people really get attracted to is, oh, that person's human. She's just being herself. Oh, she's sharing a little bit of her story. Again, back to that thing where that 30 seconds where the gentleman was asking, like, how do I like speak with people? Your story. Start talking about that. Your music's great, whatever, but share little tidbits about you. What got you motivated? What's your background? How did you start singing? What was the first song you sang? What inspired you to, write your first song? All those little things, I crave that stuff. When I find out, like, when I hear an artist and like their story, I'm like, I just go into a rabbit hole and I'm like, oh my God, did you know? Like, my kids are Tyler the Creator? I don't know. You guys might know him, right? And I'm like, who is this guy? And I think I saw him performing in Coachella, and then I just started reading into him, and I was like, oh my gosh, he has a story, right? They all do, but share your story. Start being vulnerable about that.
Thank you.
Do you go on TikTok Live?
Not yet. I'm about to start.
Okay, so when you start exposing your world into TikTok Live, that's when you really can start honing in on building rapport with your quote-unquote fans. What you're going to do is, just like any business, you need to start building relationships with your fans. Make it personal. So, oh my gosh, look at Sarah just joined. Hey, Sarah from California, I remember you. So make it where they're getting the warm and fuzzies, and they're gonna stay loyal to you and they can't wait until you post the next music video or release your next song, and they're excited because, oh my God, she knows my name. Oh my God, like I'm like #1 fan. You see what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
make them feel good. That's the same thing with sales. Building relationships. You need to make your person that you're selling to or building a relationship or selling a product to, you need to make them feel good. And you need to make them feel like they're different, and you notice them. Now they feel special, right? Now they have a connection to you. They have loyalty to you. That's where you make the magic happen.
Thank you.
So you know she does this for a living because she knows where to hold a microphone. I'm like, I don't even know where to hold it. Any other? Oh, Soul.
Hi, so I'm a recent entrepreneur. I just started last year after this professor's class, John Gibson. I created the business plan and I started the business.
Yay.
And recently, a few months ago, I started a second business. And I have a question for you ladies, because I admire you guys so much and I just met you guys.
Thank you.
So has the world changes how you stay on top of of innovation and away from competition? Like, what do you do to keep growing and to not go off of business?
So in my personal, like obviously I'm pivoting, and I consider myself an entrepreneur as well. I'm pivoting my career, right? So my career, it was one way, but I had to pivot, and now I'm going in back. I'm almost kind of like going backwards in my career, but not necessarily, because obviously there's potential ownership. I'm now going into a director, not just sales. So now I'm going to have a team that I manage, right, under me. But I'm pivoting, right? And I'm taking that leap of faith. And that's what's really setting me apart. And once again, it goes back to owning your story, right? So you're telling your story. I have a huge network. So I'm planting the seed, letting everybody know, hey, I'm pivoting. This is where I'm going. And I think that's really what's setting me apart from any competition, because, people know me as a banker, as a vice president of a bank, right? They don't know me as a vice president, director of a payroll company, but they're loyal to me, and I built that relationship with them, and they're going to follow me wherever I go. And it's just, obviously that's kind of where I go with that. But
So your question is, how do you deal with competition and
stay loyal.
stay loyal to yourself, or loyal to who are you staying loyal to?
I'm saying, like, how do you build innovation to, like, stay away from competition, like, to make yourself, like, different from customers want to choose you instead of competition?
Yeah.
What kind of business are you in?
So I have two businesses. I have a floral business,
Floral?
and then I also have a food business.
Floral and food. Okay. And I touched on this earlier, is that you are your own competition. You don't know what the florist next door is bringing in every month or every year. Their social media might show these extravagant pieces, and they did something for a nonprofit. She may have donated her time because she's just trying to get her exposure, or they may have trying to get exposure, right? So I would say focus less on what others are doing and hone back into what your goals are and your community and your demographics and the people that you're trying to serve. Listen to what their needs are, right? Or listen to how they describe you, because you're gonna find your niche and your group of people, right? You might be the girl who does quinceañeras, or you might just be the girl who does all these office parties, right? And the holiday, maybe you just have to kick ass for like 6 weeks with these corporations and make great money, and then you have the rest of the year off, or do smaller projects, right? You don't have to do every single job, and I'll guarantee you're not gonna wanna do every single job because it may not fulfill you. It might cost you more money. You may not even make money on some of these jobs, right? So I think that goes back to like, take a moment to be like, who do you want to serve? What do you want to get ultimately? I came into this business series thinking like, okay, how do I educate you guys? Like, how do I take everything here and put it there, right? And I will tell you that I've been part of a business mastermind for the past 6 years, and actually my coach texts me on the way here. He's like, I'll see you in 15 minutes. And I'm like, no, you won't. I'm doing this presentation. And like, anyways, I've been with him for like the last 6 years, just not him, with a group of people, other entrepreneurs learning things, right? And where I was going with that is that I did this one practice in one of our courses one time, and I challenge you guys to do that too. And you know, Brent, maybe you can lead this class, or I don't know which class could provide this, but doing like a 5-year reverse goal planning. Have you guys ever done that? Ever heard of that? Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through it. So it's like, where do you want to be, even if your business isn't up, okay? Pull up pen, paper, your phone, I don't care what it is. If you haven't even opened your LLC, I don't care. Imagine your business is successful in 5 years. What does that look like for you? In 30 seconds, what does your business look like in 5 years? And again, I don't want to be profitable. What does that mean? 100,000 a year? 500,000 a year? Put a number to it. Then I'll tell you why that's going to be important. Where do you want to spend your summers? Here in Arizona? No? Where do you want to spend your summer in 5 years? Put some of those goals down.
Florida.
Florida. I say California. I want to be near the water. You know, do you want to have your house paid off? Do you want to have a new car? Do you want to start a family? Do you want to, all the things. Once you have that list, now you're going to say, what do I have to do in 4 years to get there? All right, I want to make $150,000 a year. My business is going to be selling these purses that have chargers in them, and I'm going to focus on moms, right? How many purses do I have to sell a year to get to that amount, right? What do I have to do to have my car paid off in 4 years? Do I have to throw another extra $100 a year or $100 a month, right? Look at your 5-year plan and break it down to 4 years. What do I have to do in that 4 years to get to the 5 years? Then you're going to go back and say, what do I have to do in the next 3 years to get to that plan? Every goal that you put in your 5-year plan, you break that down individually. This is what I got to do. And it's going to force you to be like, oh man, if I want to hit 150 a year, I got to sell these purses at $75 and I have to sell X amount of purses, right? Like, it starts quantifying how to value what your service is going to be or whatever product you're going to be selling. It allows you to gauge what that number will look like, okay? Then you go to your 2-year plan. What do I got to do in 2 years? Do I have to have a brick and mortar? Do I have to do, whatever it is? What do I got to do in this 1 year? In this next year, what can I do? We're almost done with the year, right? Okay, what do I got to do in 6 months? What do I got to do in 3 months? What do I got to do in 6 weeks? What do I got to do in 1 month? What can I do this week that's going to get me to my, and then you have your plan. What can I do this week to get to my 1 month goal? Open up my LLC. I could do that. I could do that. I can go online. I could do that this week, right? Great. Check that off. What's your next thing? What do you have to do in that next month to hit your 6-week goal? So on and so forth. And it's not going to be a perfect plan, but I will tell you, when I first did this, I put things on there that I'm like, this is crazy, but I'm going to put it on there. And let me tell you, these last 2 years, I've been blessed enough to not have to spend the summers here in Arizona. I've been able to go visit family with my kids and be okay with it, right? You guys, I'm telling you, you write it down, you look at it often, remind yourself, it's very possible. Don't underestimate yourself. So, I wish I could have gone through it a little bit more thorough, but look at that, and maybe somebody in your class or somebody can like, you know, do that in one of your classes, but it was a very powerful exercise for me.
Go ahead. Okay. For an entrepreneur or a person thinking about starting a business, and they've gone through the setting it up, the LLC, putting it together, kind of understanding their vision of what they want to do, once they get all of that done, and you might have just answered it, but is there a goal-setting situation where they have all that set and they're saying, okay, now I have all these my ideas in my head, but they're floating around, and I don't know how to make the wheels on the bus go around, to make the wheels move, to make the money. I understand what I like, I understand what I can do, I've set the business up, but how do I make the business go? What advice do you have for that?
So, bottom line, it boils down to what type of business is it? Is it something that, you know, you can sell online? Is it something you have to go door to door to sell? Is it something that you're, you know, how are you selling it? What is it? Is it a service? Is it something that you don't even physically sell, but it's a service that you're offering to the public? Is it something that you're going, you know, you really have to hone in on what that is. And I can't emphasize enough on creating a business plan, because that business plan is going to tell you how you're going to get from A, get it off the ground. So here's my vision. This is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to get to this. This is where I'm going to go. And you need a business plan to, if you want any type of lending, if you want a grant, if you want, you know, you have to present it like, this is how I'm going to get here. This is my vision. This is my product. This is what I'm going to do. And this is how I'm going to get there. And in your business plan, it's going to have you figure out how you're going to get it off the ground. And it's like a stepping process. And you're going to figure out, where do I go to get to where I want to go? And how am I going to get that business off the ground to where I'm making money and I'm making a profit and I'm seeing my visions come to reality. So,
You know, Amy and I would make good business partners, because she's like, from what I can tell, like very detailed, and she's like, we like to have the notes and the highlighters and like the thing, and I'm more of a like, I need a business plan for what, right? Like, what is, like, I don't think I created my first business plan until like 2 years after I opened up my business, and I'm like, because you know why? Because I was required to, because I got a grant, and they made me go do a business plan, and I'm like, well, shit, okay, well, I'm already doing that. Like, I wrote it all out, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, but I never had actually written out a business plan, right? So does it have to be like the way Amy is saying it? You know what? Some of our brains function like that, and you absolutely need direction. Some of you have brains like me, where that's like crazy overwhelming. I'm more of a whiteboard or big. I have a big Post-it thing at my house. I mean, that's all over my office, where if I have an idea, I'm like writing it, like, what do I gotta do? So the way my brain thinks, and you have all the pieces, but you haven't got the momentum, is kind of like that 5-year plan, right? Is it a product that you're selling? Is it a service? What is it that you are going to be selling? Is look at that and say, okay, I have everything in place. What do I need now? Do I need to purchase my first order, right? Okay, if I need to purchase my first order, well, granted, I have no money, right? So I'm gonna go do my research on what is the cheapest way, but yet you don't lose, you know, sight of like the product or whatever it is, right? Like what aligns with you, and just start doing like your research. And the easiest thing I can tell you is that it's never going to be perfect. Your LLC may not be what you want your name to be, right? Maybe you don't have your website up. Maybe your Instagram handle that you wanted is taken, so you had to like change your name a little bit. It's never going to be perfect. And I will tell you, there are statistics out there that as women, we actually hold ourselves back from starting a business because it's not perfect. We don't have everything in line, so we keep telling ourselves that we're not ready. Where guys, they don't even care. They're like, I started a business. Well, they haven't even opened up their LLC, right? Meanwhile, the girl has the LLC, the EIN, the hashtag, or the social media handle, and the guy's like, oh, I guess I need one of those too, right? So where did you get that, right? Just do it. look at what your next steps are when you have a product or a service. What are the easiest next 3 things that you could do? And then once you get there, you take it to the next 3 things, and so on and so forth.
Okay, we're going to do a couple rapid-fire questions, just so we wrap them up before.
We have one back there.
We have one back there, and then we're going to have one up here. So you guys try and keep it a little...
Just
We'll keep it short.
really quickly, I have 2 separate questions, if that's okay. The first one is, how did you define your company's why, and how do you ensure that purpose doesn't get lost as your business grows?
Well, my business started off as Victory Accident Solutions. Again, I was a paralegal for a long time working in a personal injury world. So when I mentioned I saw a disconnect between what the attorney would say and what the client would receive in information, I'd be the one getting the call after the meeting, and the client would be like, he didn't answer my question on this and that. And unfortunately, attorneys are attorneys, and they're programmed in a certain way when they go to law school, like how to answer questions, right? So it's never like a full yes or a full no. It's always this like gray zone. So I'm like, why don't you just tell the client they're not gonna get their car fixed right now because they have, so I started that's how I started formulating my business, where I was like, there is a disconnect here. If clients could just hear this information, it would put them at ease. If they could just hear that they're not going to be out of pocket for any of this, it would put them at ease. So to answer your question, with that is that I think I lost my train of thought. But I think where I was going with that is I saw a need because people were not getting the information that they essentially needed. And for me in particular, I'm bilingual, I'm Latina, so it was really the Hispanic community that I felt was getting underserved, because to speak lingual English is a whole other language. Then to have to break that down in Spanish was a whole other language, right? So for me, it was like, okay, what are my values? What are my values? What will I always stick to? That's kind of like my North Star. And not straying away from that with the money and whatever and whatnot, but it was that community that kind of got me to focus on what that solution was.
But your business, when you start it, you're always going to be growing your business in different ways. You're going to come up with different ideas to implement into your business to make it better, right? So just keep that as a revolving open door, and know that your business is always going to evolve into better, and you're going to always pivot and change things as you go. So don't stay stuck on just one, this is the way my business is. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Be open, be vulnerable to changing things that you need to make it become better.
Right. Really quickly, you said that during your business, obviously everyone's going to face challenges. Not everything's going to be perfect. Was there ever a time that you were challenged, that your business was challenged and it went against your core beliefs or core values? And if so, how did you deal with that?
So I worked for a national bank that was literally in national news every other day. I'm sure a lot of you can imagine what national bank that was in national news every other day. So I'll let your wandering minds be curious with that one. But when that happened, I had to pivot, because that's my brand and that's my business, and those are my clients that are being impacted. So what did I do? I ended up pivoting, and I ended up going to another bank. So like I said, pivoting and figuring out how am I going to address this, because at the end of the day, yes, I worked for a bank, but at the end of the day, it's my brand. My customers are my babies. Wherever I go, they're gonna go with me, right? So you have to always think and get creative and be aware of what's going on within your company, and then you have to pivot. So.
I would say for me, there's, I think, multi-layers to this question, just because as a female in a industry, I think it's easy for us to say every industry is like male-led, unless I don't know, you have a daycare or whatever, I don't know. But it's a male-led, the legal industry is a very male-dominated field. So even while like networking and being out, out and about, I always stand on business, right? Like I come in with the energy, like I mean business. Like I'm not here to party. I'm not here to I'm here to like meet people and have a good time. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to do business, right? But in any industry, you can find temptation. You can find things that lead you astray from sometimes like what your morals and like your moral compass is, right? So that's like one aspect that I wanted to be very vulnerable about. But two, regarding my clients and the attorneys that I work with, they have to align with me in some way. And when I say that is, hey, I have a lot of Spanish-speaking clients. If you don't have a Spanish attorney or a Spanish employee, you're just not going to get my clients because I need them to really, truly understand the importance of their claims, so on and so forth. Or regardless of the language, if you're not calling back my client when they had a question, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful to me, and that's disrespectful to them. You don't get my clients. Because guess what? When they're pissed off, they call me. They're not calling the attorney because they're relying on me to make sure I'm aligning them with attorneys who are going to do and say what they're going to do, right? So for me, there's been times where I've had to cut off some of the attorneys. Hey, we just can't do business anymore. Why? Well, we just don't align. And it's okay. You're not for everybody. And just remember that your moral compass, and you're not for everybody.
Last question.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Winona, and I just have a question for you two ladies. One of the hardest things to deal with when it comes to starting a business, running a business, getting it off the ground is busyness. You're very, very busy, especially at the start of anything. And I feel like that can overwhelm a lot of people. In fact, everybody that starts a business is like, why am I doing this? Can't I just go work for somebody else, not have to worry about the stress of wearing all these different hats? So the question that I have for you ladies is, what is your best advice when it comes to dealing with time management, the busyness in your schedules, how you keep sane all at the same time?
So that's a great question. There's so many different parts, and I know we're on a time limit here, so I'm just gonna go full throttle with this. So one thing that keeps me going, especially branching off and going into my own business ownership, is do I want to wear many hats for a company and make other people money, or do I want to wear many hats and make myself money? Bottom line. Because either way, you're going to have to put in work. If you want to be able to get by, you're still going to have to work for somebody. So do you want to build somebody else's empire, or do you want to build your own? You see so just keep thinking like that. Man, this is hard. This sucks. There's so much to go into this. But bottom line, I'm filling my piggy bank, not somebody else's, right? So that's something that you can just keep as your motto to keep going and fight the good fight, right? And don't let the busyness give you fear, because what's on the other side of the fear that you have from being so busy and frustrated, and you're like running around with like a chicken with your head cut off, literally, you have to remember that it's just pure, like you have freedom, right? When you own your own business, you have to balance out the pros and the cons through and through all the time. So those are things that I would say to just hone in on and focus on. So that way you don't get discouraged, or, oh, there's just too much, there's not enough time in the day, right? Because it is easy to get sidetracked and use that, as an excuse. And at the end of the day, you're allowing fear to control your narrative and your journey. So you have to overcome that fear with using, hey, do I want to make somebody else rich, or do I want to make myself rich?
When I opened up my second business, the first thing I said was, from what I learned opening up my first business 6 years ago, what would I do different now? And I'm going to do it, right? And one of the things that came up for me in that question is, one, when you're busy opening up your own business, it doesn't feel busy because you're doing what you want to do. You want to see it successful, so it's not work. So I never felt busy, right? I never felt I'm drained, right? If anything, like, I would say incorporate healthy habits now. Everything from the accounting, right? Give yourself boundaries. Because if you love what you do and you are like so excited to grow your business, it's going to be hard for you to be like, okay, shut down, like, go to bed. I would be there till 3 a.m. sometimes, and when I go back and I look at my first year or two of opening up my business, and people would be like, how you doing? I'd be like, oh, just busy. Oh, yeah? And then, how you doing? Oh, yeah, good, just busy, right? And then I think if somebody asked me sometime, he goes, well, what are you busy doing? And I'm like, just busy work, and I'm like, well, what the fuck am I doing, right? Like, he has a point. Every time I would see somebody busy, because guess what? If you're an entrepreneur, we have this like image that, if we're not busy, business is not booming. We hold ourselves to that expectation of you have to be busy from morning to night in order for people to perceive that you're doing well or you're growing your business. Don't do that. Give yourself boundaries. Give yourself a cutoff time, because guess what? 8, 9 o'clock at night, you can't call the bank. You can't call the people that you need to call, because guess what? They're sleeping or they're doing their own thing with their own family. Learning how to put boundaries on yourself. And I don't say I'm busy now. I say I'm productive. So that time that you are using, be intentional with it. I'm going to send out 10 emails today to these people. I'm going to open up my bank account, and I'm going to do these 3 things, right? Or I'm going to do these 15 things on my list today, and then I'm done. And if I get to it, great. If I only get to 7 of them, guess what? That's going to go on tomorrow's list. Be intentional with your time and quit thinking that you have to be busy from the moment you wake up to after your family falls asleep, because your family will suffer and you don't recognize that. And give yourself boundaries.
Give yourself grace too, because when you start out with business, it is overwhelming and you are going to be frustrated no matter how you want to cut it and no matter how busy you are. Give yourself grace and trust that you're chasing your dreams and you're going to be stupid successful. But make sure you give yourself grace in between, and make sure you give yourself time to eat too.
Okay, hold on. Don't cut me off yet. Hold on. I just want to pick out one more thing about being like, oh man, I forgot what I was going to say now. Okay, I'm going to come back when I remember. I'm going to.
You just interrupt me when it pops you. Okay. All right. As we were planning for this event, and as I was saying, I've got 2 speakers up here. I was trying to think this morning, my gosh, do I have enough questions and do we have enough topics to talk for 2 hours? And I just really quick wanted to thank those of you that stayed for the entire 2 hours. And I know a couple had to go to class and work, but the questions you asked and the participation you gave truly made this a learning experience, I think, for everybody. And it was so impactful, and I really appreciate all that you all brought to the table today. So I'm going to give you all a round of applause today for doing what you did. Amy, Lou, and Vanessa, y'all set the bar high. I've got 3 more of these over the semester, and I think everyone's going to look and go, well, it's not Vanessa and Amy. So maybe I should have pushed you to the end, but I'm so happy I had you first as well. But thank you for your time, and I will give you the microphone one last time for any parting thoughts, well wishes, best advice that you could give to someone thinking about starting a business with just a couple minutes left. So if you have any advice.
So I just want to say good luck to all of you, and it was a pleasure meeting all of you and speaking in front of you and telling you my story. And I want to wish you guys well and nothing but success. And if you want to find me, you want to pick my brain, you have more questions, find me on LinkedIn, Amy Lou Harvath, or I'm on social media too. So find me, I'm all over the place. So connect. I'm happy to help you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I would say is, it sounds like you guys have a really solid program here at this community college. And don't, again, this imposter syndrome comes in and out. You guys have access to amazing professionals who have plenty of life experiences in business and in life, and they have resources for you. So use them. It doesn't matter that it's a community college. It doesn't matter that it's, you're not at the university. Some people come with life experiences that you don't get in a, university. So use your professors because they're going to be able to guide you. And same as Amy here, feel free to reach out to me on social media. I'm at Victory Legal Solutions. And, when you guys are ready to cross that path and you need help with drafting a contract or revising something, or just, hey, Vanessa, you talked on this, can you elaborate? You guys, my doors are open, and I always tell Brent, like, give him my cell phone number, right? And he's really respectful of it. And he's like, I just want to give you your cell phone number. And I'm like, Brent, I put it on my social media all the time. Like, if you don't give it to them, they're going to find it some way. So just be prepared for the no's. The no's are okay. Be prepared to fail forward. And make sure that you use your resources, whether it's people that you meet here or in this community, but you guys use your resources. They're free.
Thank you all very much. And we have a little something to say. Thank you for taking a couple hours out of your day.
Thank you so much. Can we get a picture in front of right here?
We're going to move it over here.
Oh, you are?
Yes, it's on that podium.
Oh, perfect. Love it.
We're going to do that.
Oh, look at you.
Victor,
Look at, we got cute little
Victor?
gifts
can
too.
you turn off the light, the projector?
Yes, hi. Pleasure to meet you. Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Likewise, nice to meet you.
Yeah, we're going to move this over to right here real quick. So
Should we move our bags so it's not?
Marco.
Hi, Marco.